All right. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today is the day we're driving into a crucial topic because we have a new prime minister in Canada today. Mark Carney, of course, has taken that seat. Oh, Canada, here we go. Or is it, oh, Canada? Either way, we got to figure that one out. Let's dive into today's topic. This is really important because it really shapes Canada's political and economic future. Mark Carney, the former central banker with deep ties to some of Canada's most powerful elites. This guy is stepping into the political arena. He is now our new prime minister. But there's a big question that we really need to ask ourselves, that we really need to have answered. Who does he really serve?
One of my first jobs in the public service was helping a Liberal Prime Minister fix our massive government debt. When the markets crashed in 2008, I worked with a Conservative Prime Minister to protect Canadian homes. I got it done, and Canada recovered faster than any other G7 country.
This man is so interesting. When you watch his ads, you get to see some of what he really believes. It's really interesting. My producer pointed this out, that he talks about how he served a Liberal prime minister, how he served a Conservative prime minister, but he didn't point out that he served Justin Trudeau, even though we all know that he's been advising him for all these years. He wants to disassociate himself from Trudeau, and I get that. Very smart, very calculated. Can he help Canada on the global stage? Absolutely. More so than Trudeau? Absolutely. The question is how much of it will be for his financial interest over Canadians' financial interest is the real question that we have to ask when we see it. Carney has worked at Goldman Sachs, Brookfield Asset Management, and led central banks in both the UK and right here at home in Canada. That's an impressive resume, to say the least. Let's give the man credit. That is an impressive resume, but it also raises serious concerns about transparency, accountability, and conflicts of interest. We've already had a Liberal government that has been filled with conflicts of interest and ethics violations. If he truly wants to lead Canada, he must first prove that he represents the people, not the financial elite. Okay, so let's answer this question. Why won't Mark Carney disclose his financial holdings? Transparency is the foundation of public office. But yet, Carney, a man who's controlled monetary policy for not one, but two countries, for millions and millions of people, has not, to date, fully disclosed his financial holdings. And as of today, he is now our new prime minister. We can cheer, if you'd like, for Trudeau being gone. Some people will be sad. Some people are extremely happy. But one way or another, we now have Mark Carney in as the new prime minister of Canada. If he claims to be the champion for the working people, for the middle class, why the secrecy? Look, without full disclosure, how can we as Canadians trust that his political, or his policies rather, and his trade, his finance, energy, all of these things, how do we know that these will benefit this country rather than the institutions, the various elites that he's been known to rub shoulders with? In fact, Forbes actually put him as one of the most influential men in the world. How do we know that he is not here to serve their interests? Maybe he's able to use those connections to further advance Canada. But does anyone get that sense, based on his career, that he has really been interested in advancing the average Canadian's interest? The question that we're all wondering. Liberals, Conservatives, NDP, everyone is asking the same question. Can we as Canadians trust Mark Carney? Carney may be a financial expert, and definitely he has been a leader across the world stage, but can he be accountable as opposed to working in back rooms where no one knows what he's done? We know that he's made a lot of money for himself and for businesses that he's been a part of, but he owes answers to Canadians. Will he fully disclose his financial holdings? Will he include investments with Brookfield, Goldman Sachs, or climate finance funds? Will he disclose whether they're immediate or tertiary? But maybe it's not a direct, but an indirect return on an investment. Will he pledge to recuse himself from policymaking in areas where he might gain an interest? He might benefit. Will he ensure that government contracts, subsidies, and policies do not disproportionately benefit firms that he has been a part of or affiliated with? If the answer to any of these questions is no, then we must ask ourselves, is Mark Carney truly the right person to lead Canada? Mark Carney is not just another politician. He's a figure of global financial power, which is important and someone that you would normally want to lead you and your nation. If you trusted in his stance to support, to lead for the Canadian people rather than his own interests. Carney is a much more calculated individual. And quite frankly, I expect to make a lot of money if he gets into power, if he's elected for another term, for another 4 years. I do expect to make more money. Why? Because we will watch as the average Canadian gets less and less and less. Whichever way you decide to vote, I know that you believe it. I know that you trust it. And I want to say, I don't know that we can trust Mark Carney and his interests because they've always been aimed towards advancing the elite, not Canadians. All right, guys, that's been another episode of the Four Horsemen Real Estate Podcast. Da-da-da, Canada, we have a new Prime Minister. Let's get ready for this roller coaster, and we'll see you next week.
When the ones around trust in their word, they walk the talk in the world of investment, they make their mark.